My name is ANDYMKOSI. I'm a documentary photographer based in South Africa. And this series is called Behind the Frame, where I get to talk about my archive and share stories behind the many images that are part of my archive. For the next 4 videos, and this being the second one, I'm speaking on my project MIDGROOVE and picking pictures from that project, where I can delve deep into the stories and the narrations behind some of these pictures. Today, I am concentrating on this picture. A picture made at a ball in 2019 at the tennis club in Kensington. So this event was being hosted by Amira Sharif. And if I'm correct, I think it was hosted by Kop, and Amira is one of the organizers. So it was a night where drag queens were competing against one another. People were dancing, having fun. People just unwinding on a Saturday, a day before Pride. I was standing by the bar and and one thing that drew me to Tsepo was the hat. Full of character, you know, like stylish. I'm not too sure who between Tsepo and I approached the other. And immediately after that, the 3 friends approached. And they too wanted an image, but now they wanted a group image with everyone in it. And I really love this picture because of how much it oozes like confidence, sexiness. In Orlando, it has that thing, man, like the style as well, like the daring style, you know, like the hat, lingerie, the facial expressions that they have, it's like staring. Even me looking through the viewfinder on this night, I was a bit intimidated because balapa and they want this picture and they're so confident. So I was really happy to come home and find out that this was an incredible image. Also one of the few images that are identifiable when it comes to MIDGROOVE, the project. I had so much fun at this party that we left, my friend and I left around 6 in the morning. It was happening inside a tennis club. It was happening so much that we didn't realize that it was past midnight. In 2019, late 2019, I'm in Cape Town and a friend of mine sends me a link to a competition held by Global 50/50 Health. And they had a competition called This Is Gender, where they were looking to diversify their catalog and their archive when it comes to gender-specific topics. So one of the ways that they chose to do this was find photographers through a competition, which is called and is annual now, called This Is Gender. So I entered the 2019 one, and the results were announced in 2020, early 2020. I made it to the shortlist. Don't know how many photographers were shortlisted, but this was one of the images that was picked up. So proud of this image. I think it's one of the first images of mine that were picked for a competition. So you can imagine the glee and the happiness that I had. And so as the curator and I are talking, they asked me, do you have permission to showcase this image and get it published? But luckily for me, I knew Tsepo. At that point when she asked me, I did not have the permission. So I went back to Tsepo on Instagram. I was like, yo, Tsepo, this is what it is. The picture has been picked up and I need permission from you and your friends if the picture can be published. They agreed, but I would have been fucked if I didn't know Tsepo or if I didn't know any of the people in the picture, you know. I would have had to forfeit my shortlisting. And this brings me to a conversation that I think is not often had by photographers and models. The conversation of what happens when the picture is picked up for competitions, the picture is being bought by a collector, by a friend. What is the conversation that needs to happen in order to draw the lines and confines and the rules or whatever regulations that you guys place around that image. Because at the end of the day, photographers, as photographers need to realize that models are our collaborators, and they are not just pieces that we include into a story or frame that we intend to make. That they too have a voice, and they too need to be consulted. You know, I think building trust between the person that you're photographing and yourself as the photographer is very important, especially in the initial stages of that relationship. All the equipment pieces being used to film this video and record the audio is available for rent via @TaveRentals. Follow us on Instagram. We have mics, we have cameras available, and anything that you need that we don't have, we'll outsource for you from a third party. I've only recently started doing this thing in my career of 10 years plus. But like, I think the easiest way is to bring it up during the day of the photo shoot. Mention, okay, cool, we're doing this shoot now, but we don't know what benefits this picture will hold once it's out in the world, you know. Stipulate this, and if you have not, like what I do, I go back to that person and say, okay, and I will give you a cut. So for instance, in 2020, a bank wanted to license one of my images for a Women's Month campaign yabo. And the picture that they wanted to license was of a collaborator that was very visible in the image. So I had to go back to that person and say, okay, we didn't speak about what happens when X, Y, and Z comes through as an opportunity, but this is what's happening now, and this is how I'm willing to go forward with it, to give you a percentage of what I'm gonna get. Are you fine with that? Bashab. And I think like we need to do away with like shying away from talking about these things, because at the end of the day, they protect you as a photographer, and they protect the model, or rather build more trust within the model, that like you are not like trying to just make an image and jet off with the pictures. Because sometimes gunzima, like for photographers, to even give the collaborator a picture of this size. If anything, when you do that, it builds that trust even more, that this person sees me as part and parcel of the bigger idea of what we are doing together, and I'm not just a sitter taking directions from this photographer. So yeah, man, like I think going forward as photographers, initiate things like contracts, model releases. It will really help you in the long run, and it protects you and your practice and the relationship that you have with the model, you know. Yeah, so yeah, man, like this is like one of my favorite pictures from MIDGROOVE, again, like the last one that I presented. And shout out to Debbie, to Tepo, and the rest of the friends that are part of this picture. Thank you for being great collaborators. I wouldn't have been able to be part of that shortlisting or competition, which ended up not happening, like in terms of the exhibition, because COVID happened and they had to cancel the actual exhibition. But if I hadn't had contact with you, Tsepo, I wouldn't have been able to reach out to the other collaborators on the image. So yeah, man, this is one of my pictures that was shortlisted for a competition called This Is Gender. You can check out their website, Global Health. Tell a friend that I am telling stories from my archive, and let's all huddle and comment and share and do all of those things that people do online.